Alright everyone, so in this video I am going to give you some tips on Lab 7. So Lab 7, in Lab 7 you'll do a lighting survey of a room in your house, and you want to pick a room that has pretty good natural light with some windows and so forth, and you'll see why here in a minute. So in order to do a proper analysis, you would need a light meter, which looks like this. Normally we would do this in class, and you would have light meter and you'd go around and measure light levels in the room. But they actually have pretty good apps, a lot of free apps for your phone, both iPhone and Android, that can measure light levels as well. So go ahead and you can find a good one. I use Lux. It's called LUX, Lux. I have an Android, but I believe it is available for iOS as well, and it does a pretty good job. To be frank, it doesn't have to be perfect. The idea here is more the process and understanding how light levels work and so forth than your light meter being perfect. If you really want to come in and borrow a light meter, I can make that arrangement for you. Just let me know. So for this, you're going to analyze one room in your house. And what you want to do, you want to think about this ahead of time, because you need to do this twice actually. So you need to do it once during the day when you have nice natural light coming in. You want to open up any blinds and so forth to provide natural lighting. And then you want to do it once at night with everything closed and no ambient light outside and just using the lights from inside your house. Okay, so you're going to have to do this twice. The procedure is pretty straightforward. So what you need to do is break your room into a grid of 2x2 squares, and I'll show you how to do this in a minute. And you're going to do that with Excel using the Borders tool. And so you basically just create a grid of your room, whatever room you're doing, and then you take measurements in each grid square. Okay, so let me kind of show you how this works. So if you go to, I believe it's under Insert, where are we at here? There's a Home. Oh yeah, here we go. Home. We go to the Borders tool. So draw a border. Okay. So you can just draw a border here. So each square, like that, right? So each of these squares represents a 2x2 grid on your in your room. So let me highlight these. You can make them a little thicker if you want to. If you want to make these a little thicker, you can go to the drop down here and go to Line Style, and then click this, which is a thicker border. And now if we do Draw Borders, here you can see, let's make it do that. So now you can see it a little better. Right? So each of these is a 2x2 square in your room. So here, and let's say it's over here. Now, if it's not perfectly, it doesn't match up your room dimensions exactly, that's okay. You just want to get close. All right, so let's say I have a nice little, I'll draw kind of a rectangular room here that is, all right, so let's say this is my room. Okay. So you can see here it's 2, 4, 6, it's 8 by 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 8 by 14. Okay, so now we get off the border tool, and now you can type in these cells, right? So you just click, you get rid of that border, just unclick the border, and you can type in these cells now. So what you need to do is take your light meter, or in this case most likely your phone, and you start at the top left corner, or the corner of the room, and you basically take a 2 foot wide square. So this is representing your room, and so you want to try to be kind of in the middle of this box in your room, and you take light levels. Okay, so let's say we'll do foot candles. Let's say it's like this one's 20, this is 22, 21, right? And so you step over and you take another light level, and you step over 2 feet, let's say that's 15, and you step over 2 feet, and so on. So you're going to do that until you fill out the entire grid. So I'm going to fill this in and then show you what the next step is. Okay, so here is a hypothetical series of light levels, right? So I have every 4 square feet, so it's every 2 feet, right? These are all 2 by 2 boxes. Take a light level reading, and then I type in the number there. These numbers don't have to be exact. Just get it right around the ballpark. It's good. It might fluctuate a little bit, but just get it as close as you can. So wait a couple of seconds, about 5 seconds, to let it normalize. And of course, don't stand in the way, so don't shade your light meter, because that'll mess up your reading. Make sure nothing is shading it. Okay, so now we have these readings, which is sort of helpful. But a way we can really make this pop and make it much more clear is by using what's called conditional formatting and creating a legend. So I'm making up numbers here. So these, I have no idea. These are totally fantastical. So let's say an appropriate light level. You want to look up the appropriate light levels for the living space, whatever that is, whether it's a dining room or living room, or bedroom, or whatever. Okay, and you want to create a color-coded grid to tell you when it's too bright, kind of like right in the, kind of pretty good, and then a little bit too dim. So let's just say for this space that the ideal foot candles is I don't know. Let's say it's 12 to 20. Okay, so that means below 12 is too dim. And let's say below 5 equals much too dim. And then we'll say 20, let's see, 20 to 21 to 30 is much too bright. Okay, so that's basically my legend. Let's make this in order. Move this up. All right, so there's my legend. Okay, and so now I need to identify a color. So let's say below 5 is whatever. We'll say this is. How do we want to do this? Let's do a cool blue. You can do whatever you want here, whatever you think looks good. That's a darker blue. This is going to be even darker blue, and then the too bright is going to be. We'll just make it yellow, make that really pop. So let's make this green. Okay. So now we want to make this match up with these colors. And you could do it manually, but there's actually, I want you to do it using conditional formatting, which is a really, really handy thing to know in Excel. So what you do is you highlight the whole thing. Okay? You go to conditional formatting. All right, so we want to do anything above 20 is yellow. So we can go to highlight cell rules. Great. Oh wait, let me make sure this is, sorry, let me select it there. Highlight cell rules greater than. Pretty straightforward. So we just type in 20 in the box here. Okay, so anything greater than 20. Now it's going to default. It tells you where already. Will show you which cells it's selecting. So we want to change this to a custom format. Change it to our color. Right. So click color. Click OK. You can see it highlights it over here. We hit OK. We're good. All right. So the ideal is green. So again, we want a conditional format. Just make sure they're all highlighted. And we can do highlight between. So between, in this case, let me move this over, whoops, between 12 and 20. 12 and 20. We want it to be green. So we'll go in here, go to custom format, go our green, okay, okay. Right, so now we just do that for each of them. So you can create this however you want. Just make sure you have a legend. Okay, it tells me exactly what's going on. I guess I might as well finish this out. So, right, so if we do this, so basically between 5 and 12 is going to be that blue. So we'll do between 5 and 12 is blue, right? So that's this blue here. Oh, this blue, yep. And then we can just create one last one. That's okay. Create one more. And we'll do less than 5. That's going to be that light blue. Perfect. Okay. So now you can see it tells you exactly where your overlit areas are. It really jumps out at you. It's right here. And then the green is your perfectly lit areas, or acceptable. And then the blue is your below, and then this is much below. So you want to create your grid, create a color scheme that makes sense to you, and just make sure that you have a legend. Okay? And so the nice thing about conditional formatting is if you go back and you're like, oh man, you know, I actually messed up that. This is actually wrong. That's 7. If you change this to 7, you can see how it automatically updates to that color. Right? And if this was like 23, you can see that. So that's what's really great about conditional formatting, is that if you change the values, it's automatically going to update. And you can see that really makes it sort of pop out at you. Okay, so you do that with your, this would be during the day with your blinds open. Nice natural light, no light, so your light's off with just natural light. And then you want to do the same thing with your at night or during the day with all your blinds closed. And you can actually, if you copy it, you can actually go here and just highlight the whole thing, copy it, and you can just paste it right here instead of doing it again. Actually, let's paste that, and I think that'll keep my formatting. Yeah, so if you hit paste, if you copy it and then hit paste values, it'll copy the conditional formatting as well, and so you can actually recreate your legend here, and then you can do this whole thing. So you can copy this, right, and just paste it here. There you go. Now you have the second one. So then you want to do it again with the blinds closed. Okay. Then you see you have some questions to answer here about the light levels, and some recommendations if you can make any recommendations, if it's overlit, underlit, and so forth. And the last part here, you're actually going to now look at some shading strategies. And so pretty straightforward. You're going to copy and paste an image of your house from Google Maps. So just go to Google Maps, do a snip, and put your image right here. Okay, and make sure you provide a north arrow. That's really important, so I know which direction it's faced. And then you want to find your latitude and longitude and enter them in here. And that's questions 3 and 4. So if you're going to use any shading features, which house would you put shading on? So you want to think about your orientation and which side your windows are on and so forth, and would you put vertical or horizontal shades? Okay. And then you're going to actually get a sun path chart by going to this website. So let me just give you an example here. So if you go to the sun path, you just click on the link, and so you can find your latitude and longitude. So let's say about 40 and longitude minus 30. Or let's look up the zip code. Just do that. I'm just going to do okay, so what you want to do is just keep these defaults. Let's plot 30 days. Okay, so this will give you your half of a year, December through June. Let's do standard time. 0 through 60 is good. This is good, so that's your elevation angle. Just keep it all default. Don't make it complicated. And hit create. Download it here. And there you go. So now you've made there's your sun path chart. So you want to make this the right way, so let's rotate this. Alright, so what you can do is just take a snip. Let's use your snipping tool or whatever you want to use, and make sure you keep all of this. Let me do this. So I had to paste it on another screen. So I just copied it to my snipping tool, and paste it in here. Now make sure you can see it, so you shrink it as needed. Okay, so then you're going to answer questions here. So what is the solar elevation and azimuth at 10 a.m. on the June solstice and so forth. So when you do this, I want you to highlight, if it says to highlight, highlight the where on the chart, just find a way to highlight. You can just do a little circle or whatever, right? So let's say this is, I don't know, 10 a.m. Right, so you can just do a little highlight there. You can put an arrow or a call out. Right. Say this is whatever, 10 a.m. blah, 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 right? Okay, and then just answer the questions and make sure it's clear which questions you're answering over here. Okay, so hopefully that helps you with Lab 7.